So welcome to our October Craft and Chat. No, it's not our Craft and Chat. Our Creative Craft Clinic with Shelley and doing our mystery quest. So we don't know what we're doing. We all hopefully have your stuff cut out, and if you don't, we can still follow along and find out what we're going to do. Shelley, we want to be interactive, ask questions, show her what we're doing, and I'm excited we're helping Shelley, and I'm excited to see what she's going to create for us. Tracy was going to bring all the stuff over for me to do, but she's sick. So Tracy's like in the corner in her own place, keeping her germs to herself. um, so
Yeah,
I,
on everything,
I'm going
but
to turn it over
fine.
to Shelley. Shelley, for those who don't know Shelley, if you don't, Shelley's been a member of the Scrapbooking Fun Circle since January, and shows up to 99% of them, except if she's in school with her daughter. And she is going to be leading a class for us to do this kind of mystery quest, which is really appropriate because it is Halloween month. So we have mysteries and things going on. So that is it. We're going to turn it over to Shelley. And hello from Chile, Alaska. It's cold here too, Ruth. I mean, not as cold as you probably, but you have short sleeves on and I have a sweater on. So we're in different spots in that thing. But yes, it's cold here too. Okay, let me see if this works. Does everybody see just Shelley or do they see the gallery still?
Yet, not yet.
Okay. We're going to go back to this and we are going to spotlight Shelley. Now,
There we go.
here we go.
Yes, here I am. All right. Well, hello everybody, and I hope everybody's excited for the mystery something that we're going to make here. I did say that I would start right from the get-go, so if you haven't done your homework, then that's okay because you can watch me whip my way through what you should have already done, just in case you haven't, or if you were not too sure about what you were doing. So who's excited for this? Anybody? Oh, good. We got hands. That's awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to switch to the other camera. And with any luck, I don't lose you. There we go.
You are spotlighted.
Excellent. So now you see my hand there. We're going to get rid of that because we shouldn't need this. And we're going to start with cutting the paper. So first off, as I mentioned, you needed some sort of a trimmer. And there's all sorts of varieties of trimmers out there. This just happens to be the one that I am using. And we're going to start with our colored paper first. So I chose to go with a Christmas theme. So you can see I've got reds and greens, and we'll see what we come up with when we're all done. So the first thing we had to do was cut it at 8.5 inches square. So I line it up with the 8.5 inches here and flip that little guy. And now we're done with that. And you should cut 3 of those. So I had suggested 2 of one color and 1 of another color, just to have a little bit of variety. But when you go and make your own with, the next one you're going to make, you can make it out of whatever colors you'd like. Next, we need to have our 4-inch squares. And again, I chose Christmassy theme. So it's sort of Christmas spots on one side and bells on the other. And for this one, we need 4-inch squares. So I'm just lining it up with the 4-inch line, cutting it, and another set at the 4-inch line. And the nice thing about using 12 by 12 paper is when you cut it at 4 inches, you'll get 12 squares by the time you're all said and done. So now we're going to make the rest of our 4-inch squares. And I just lined all the papers. Whoops, I just lined all the papers up here. Make sure I stay on camera so you can see what I'm doing. 4 inches along there. So now I'm just going to cut this and cut the next one. And so that gives me 12 squares here. And I'm going to use both sides because it's double-sided paper. So that gives me 6 of one square, one type, and 6 of another. And I already, of course, through the magic of TV, cut some other papers. Let me grab them. So I have more than I need here, but now I have a whole bunch of papers that I can choose from. So I'm just going to put those all over on the side, and we are done with our cutting. Everybody following along, no questions. If you have questions, just unmute yourself because I'm not really watching the chat.
I'm
because
watching it for you.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we can put this little guy away. And the next thing that we're going to need is our scoreboard. Now, I have a big one, but they, again, come in all sorts of varieties of sizes. And this is what we're going to use to make some score lines on our paper so that we can do our folds. This was the green piece that we just cut. And if you
Uh-oh. We've lost your voice.
Sure.
Uh-oh. Shelley. Shelley will be back in a second, hopefully. Technology. Hopefully she noticed.
After a message from our sponsors, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Shelley.
love tech.
Oh, you're back. Here
All
you-
good stuff. There's nothing.
Oh, now she's really gone. We'll be waiting for Shelley for a moment. She will be back. Technology. We're all ready to go and she's not here, but she'll be back. Just when you want it to work. Oh, there she comes. I got a big spotlight for her camera though, so hopefully she can resolve.
Isn't that just always the way it happens? We have tech issues.
Yes.
All right, let's see here.
All we see is a big white spot.
Yeah, I see that. Let's go back and tell my machine what it's supposed to be doing here. Let's just see here. Give me half a minute and I have to repair this thing again. Oh, you gotta love tech.
That's okay.
Can I ask around how many score lines we're going to need? And I'm asking that because I'm about Heather here.
Oh, we're gonna need 3 for the 3 per page, the color pages.
So it's something that easily she can kind of fold. I'll
Yes.
fold with her is what I'll do.
Okay. Let me, oops, where did
Heather,
we
who has
go?
no tools and has to figure it all by herself, who doesn't have a clue what she's doing. So we'll see what I come up with.
We'll see. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna.
While she's
Karen,
working out your camera, does
I'm with
anybody
you.
have and does anybody have a crazy Halloween house decorating person in their neighborhood?
No,
Are you a crazy Halloween house decorating person?
no. Our neighborhood is pretty dull, actually.
Well, come to my street. I can see my neighbor who's like on the other side of the curve. Tracy knows I live in a circle. His house is glowing red right now, and he's only just started. Like, he's only about a quarter through what I know he'll put out, and it's
Okay,
witches
all
and
right.
skeletons and crow. Like it's just his whole house, well, ghosts and everything. He goes crazy for it. So, but
Although I was coming down one of the boulevards and I noticed on one of the balconies of an upper townhouse unit, they had the huge, gigantic skeleton, like the upper half of the skeleton just filled his balcony, and it was so visible being on the upper level that it was, I said, that's pretty effective. I said, being in an apartment, I would imagine it would be challenging to decorate for the outside, but they did their balcony with his big, gigantic skeleton. So I thought that was pretty good.
About the only thing I
That
have.
is different.
He makes everything. Like he made his entire graveyard fence last year.
Wow.
He stores all this stuff. I'm always thinking, where does he store this? Ah, we have her back.
There we
All
go.
right. Creativity is the mother of invention because my other one didn't work. So we'll see how this goes. And I am upside down. Let me just spin us around so that I am right side up. Hopefully I'm
There
not
we
making
go.
anybody nauseous. All right.
Well, kudos to you, Shelley, for fixing up an alternate because I would be panicking right about now.
Oh, you can't tell how much I'm sweating right now. All right, hang on here. Let's spin this around and see whether this will work here.
Well, that's cool. Brenda has
Uh,
a neighbor who turns the garage house into a haunted house, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Now we're getting there, Shelley. There we go.
there we go. Let's just see here. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I can work with that. All righty, back in business. So
Mhm.
we have let's move that back in screen here. So we have a scoreboard. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, aka Heather, then you can fold just really carefully. All the folds will be really easy. So we take our paper that we have and we want to cut it in half because we want to end up with 4 equal squares. And so this paper is 8.5 inches wide. So we divide it by 2, and that's 4 1/4. And for Heather, you just fold it in half, going one way.
Or
And
she
then,
folds it if you are, sorry.
yeah,
Is it the one that we do the two of the same color?
yes. So you're going to be doing the exact same thing to all 3 solid colored pieces of paper.
Okay.
So that makes it nice and easy. So you've got your first full line down the center, and then spin it 90.
4 1/4.
Yeah, 4 1/4, and then you're going to spin it 90 degrees. So now here was the fold line that you just made here before. Now you're going to do the same thing at 4 1/4, which is half of your paper, and go down. And at this stage of the game, you can see, let's just lift this up. You can kind of see it creates 4 quadrants, 4 squares,
Mhm.
and everybody's caught up, hopefully. Just shout out if I'm going too fast. The next
Shelley, I
thing
have one question and I came in late. I'm sorry.
you bet.
Okay, I didn't know if I wanted 3 different colors or 2 of one and 1 of another, and not
Mhm.
knowing what the project is, what would be preferential?
The nice thing is whatever you want.
But I don't know what I'm making, so I can't
Okay.
choose.
You know what? I'm making 2 of one color and 1 of another color. These are the colors that I'm going with. And the
Okay,
idea is that the 2 colors are going to be on the outside of whatever it is we're making, and
got it.
the middle one will be on the inside, if that
Okay,
helps.
so they're going to be a base. They're going to be the bases.
Yes, exactly.
So are we folding all
Okay,
3?
So yes, you will fold all 3. But there's one more step, one more fold that you need to do. So you've got your fold down, or sorry, you've got your score down and your score down, which creates your 4 different quadrants. The next one's going to be a little bit different because you're going to take your corner and your other corner down in the bottom here, and you're going to line them up and fold them in half. But before you do that, you want to you want to flip the paper. So you can see here that our fold lines or our score lines go down. We want to flip the paper so that those guys are now going up. And this is the side you're going to do your scores on. So I cheat and I have drawn, you'll see lines on my scoreboard. Those are some of the common measurements I use, because when you're trying to follow a line down, it's darn near impossible to make sure that your top and your bottom match up unless you have magic eyes or you've cheated like this and drawn a line. So I have drawn a line so that I can make sure that both of my corners line up. So here is on this line here, and to make sure I'm lined up accurately on the bottom, let's just move my camera. And you can see here, there's my bottom line so that I can tell that I'm lined up properly. So once you've got all your 2 corners there, they're opposite corners, you're going to draw your score line down. So if you were to take a look at your paper really closely, you can see that that diagonal one that you just did goes down into the paper. That's called a valley fold. And then the other ones that we did to sort of bisect the paper into 4 equal squares, they're pointing up. Those are called mountain folds. So you're going to do that to all 3 of your pieces of paper. And if you could just give me a bit of a hands up when you've got that done, or if you have any questions. And then we'll go on to the next step.
Are we going to do that to all 3 or just one?
You're going to do it to all 3. So the next step, what you're going to do is you're going to fold. So I'm going to fold where it has the valley folds. I'm going to turn that into a mountain by basically folding it up. So Heather, you're just going to keep folding, but just make sure that your one that goes from corner to corner is folded the opposite way as the ones that bisected into 4 equal squares.
Yep, got that, I think.
And then when you've got that, I just burnish it down really well so that it's got a nice sharp fold. And you can use anything to burnish as long as it's kind of gently cornered. If you've got a stamp block, you can use that. I happen to have what's called a bone folder. I use that. You could use just about anything. So I made my first one, and then I'm going to flip it over so that I can fold my other ones and make sure that the corners up here line up on both sides, and do your burnishing. And then do the third fold on that side. And when you're all done, it should look kind of like this. You can tell when you've done it properly, because if you hold your 2 corners here and here, you'll notice that it kind of pops up into like a little square like that. And the secret to that is that diagonal fold has to be the other direction from your other square folds that went exactly halfway through the paper.
There's only one
All right.
diagonal fold, right?
Only one diagonal fold. Yeah.
Shelley, I have a question. I was looking down when you did the very first fold. So are you folding it mountain, folding it down like this mountain, or when you make a score, do you actually fold it the opposite way?
The way that I do them, that seems to work so it doesn't crackle the paper, is where you have a valley fold like this, I then fold it up so that it turns into a mountain fold.
Okay.
And then here where you have the mountain fold already, I flip that over so I'm looking at the valley, where we're here, the valley there, and then I make that a mountain. So basically you're folding them in half this way, and then in half this way, and then flipping it over and doing diagonal.
Okay.
So if you want to fold, make sure that all those guys are folded right now. And I'll just fold the other ones that I have. Of course, you want to match the corners to make sure that it's a nice square, if that makes sense. And of course, you can do the test fold when you think you've got them all done by taking sort of the ones that kind of popping out the center. And when you put your finger on the center and just give it a little push, it pops it out like that, so that you get it folding up into sort of that little teacup or flower or whatever you want to call it. And when it's all folded properly, it'll make a nice little square like this. And yep, there you go, Heather. Perfect. There you go. So then once you've got it like that, then just go along the two edges that are folded, and then down the center, because that down the center there will take into account the folds of these two guys inside. And the idea is you want it a nice sharp fold.
I follow instructions well. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can fold.
That's excellent. Well, hopefully this isn't too terribly confusing. I know the first time when I watched, this is not an original, just to let you know, I watched a very lovely lady who gave excellent instructions. And as I'm listening to her instructions, I'm thinking, where are you going with this? But once she was done, it's like, oh, well, of course. So, all right. How are we doing? Everybody, you should have the 3 sort of folded squares. If you've got your 3 folded squares, can you just kind of hold them up so I can count bodies and make sure that everybody's following along? Good stuff.
I think Ruth is just watching, which is good.
Ruth, okay, perfect. Michelle, you okay?
I've just got one more to bone fold and I'll be done.
Awesome. Okay. So just going to fold them one more time here because you can never have too much burnishing. Yep.
Just saw your message, Ruth. I can do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
I am working on a template handout that I'll send as soon as I finish tonight. And Tracy and Heather, is it better that I send the handout through you guys and then you can send it out, or can I post it right to the website?
To the website or to Facebook?
Sorry, Facebook.
You can post it to Facebook, but you can also, not everybody's a member of Facebook.
Okay, how about I send it to you and post it?
That
And
works.
then everybody gets it. And then hopefully now that you'll have seen it done, when you look through the instructions, they make sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm just going to try and lift this up, maybe, so you get a little bit better view here, a little higher. Hopefully I'm not making anybody nauseous. Whoops.
That's good.
There we go. All right. So how we doing, Ruth? Or sorry, Michelle. Good?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay, perfect. So here are your 3 little flowers or whatever you want to call them. So if we put them so that they're kind of opened up like this, you'll see that the points point towards you. What we want to do is take that middle one, and instead of the points pointing towards you, you want to flip them over so the points point down. And when you do that, if you line it up so that the corner here that doesn't have a fold on it, you're going to take the corner of the center one that doesn't have a fold on it, and when you put it inside, see how they just nestle? And you're going to do the same with the other side. And when you do that, you'll see that they nestle really nicely together. Everybody's following along. Okay, perfect. And now if you grab the 2 outside corners and gently push it together and push that center one down, you'll see it makes a nice little square that's all interconnected. Does that make sense? So you want the 2 outside units with the points pointing towards you. And then you're going to take the center unit again here. Instead of having the points point towards you, you're going to turn it upside down. And the side that's solid, not the side that has the fold on it, the side that's folded, you're going to put it and nestle it with one of the other sides that are solid, no folds. And then do the same to the back. And they nestle nicely together. How are we doing? Good stuff. Looks like Julie's got it. There we go. Yeah. Everybody else following along? All right. Got our square. All right. So this is going to be our basis of our unit. Now we need to put them together, because if you just leave them like this, of course, they're going to fall apart. So kind of gently sort of flatten them out a little bit, because you want to be able to work with them. Give them a little bit of a flatten. Now comes the glue. So you'll need your glue or your double-sided tape. Now I'm a big fan of glue, and I use glue for just about everything, but I'll show you one with glue and one with double-sided tape so that you can kind of follow along. All right. Now it helps if people watch on this part. What you're going to do is you're going to glue these two big square pieces on top of each other so that they overlap and they attach themselves to each other. When you do that, you can see where the fold of the paper is, where our score was. You don't want to cover these up, like, tuck it in so close that those are covered up, because then it makes it so that the unit doesn't fold together. So when you glue it together, you want to leave just a hair's breadth of space between the two of them so that this will still fold properly. So keeping that in mind, if you're using double-sided tape, you're going to want to, on the far left page, you're going to want to run a line of double-sided tape around the outside two corners, I guess you would call it. So let me find my corner here, and I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to get pretty close to the edge, and you're going to put your double-sided tape right there and right there. And then burnish that down nice and tight so that it stays. Then, everybody follow along so far? Then you're going to flip that red guy over, the center one. And keeping in mind that this side here is the one that's going to nestle right into the center of your left side base. So you would want to put your tape on this side, or glue, whichever you want to use. And so I'm just going to do that with the red here. And burnish that down so it stays down. Okay. Everybody still good? Okay. Hearing no complaints, we're moving on. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull up that topping of the double-sided tape so that you can take it off and just leave the tape. Now, this is the fun part, because depending on how good you are with double-sided tape, I never get it straight the first time. So I always end up having to rip it up, and then it causes no end of problem. So the secret to that is if you want a little bit of wiggle room, then you take your glue. Oops, my glue's got a fuzzy on it. So you take your glue and you just put a little bead of glue down on top of that. Now this serves two purposes. One, it gives you some wiggle room so that if you don't get it in the exact right place to start with, it doesn't matter, because that glue will allow you to kind of slide it around for a minute. And two, depending on the climate that you live in, if it's really humid or really cold, I found that the double-sided tape lets go, and all of a sudden you have pieces rather than a complete unit. If you're using liquid glue, usually it doesn't do that. So by combining both of them, it just sort of covers your bases. The other thing you're going to do is you want to make sure that this center piece here is going to stick together. So just apply a little bit of glue to that. There we go. Everybody still with me?
They're quiet, so they must be.
I was going to say, yeah. No news is good
I
news.
don't have glue, so I can't do that part.
Oh, you don't have glue? Oh, dear.
No, my supplier didn't give me any glue.
Whoa, whoa, you've got the double-sided tape.
I'm working
There
on
you
it.
go.
I haven't figured out how to get the side off of it yet, but
If you have something sharp, I usually use my fingernails because they're long enough. But if you have something sharp like a pin or like a sharp pair of scissors or something like that, or there's pick-me-up tools that have a sharp point, you can just stick it under the side and pull it out. So you have these two pieces that look like this so far. Now what you're going to do is flip that red guy over because you want it to nestle into the corner here. And because we put glue on the double-sided tape, that should provide us some wiggle room. So you're going to put it in the corner, and I usually try and line up the corner first, and then one side and the other, and then down. So you can see how I left a little bit of wiggle room there so that when it folds up, that score line for the fold has space to fold. And so you're just going to press that down, make sure that that's not going anywhere. And I'll just pause here to make sure that everybody kind of catches up. If you have a little bit of glue that sort of squirts out like I have here, just wipe it off because you don't want to have that there when this thing folds up because that will cause you no end of problems. Is everybody caught up so far?
not yet, but we're getting.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'll take a drink here.
How's everyone doing? Everyone else is quiet.
I was going to say, you guys are so quiet. Makes me nervous.
Kind of rushed ahead, but
Oh, there you go. Julie's on her way. There you go.
Quiet means they're focused, so that's good.
Exactly. So to
I got
test,
lost. Wait, are those the first two papers you were working on?
yes, those are the first two papers. My third one is still loose.
Okay, but you put the score tape and then you put glue.
Yes. So what I did, it's not going to come together. So what I did was I had score tape on the outside left piece
Uh-huh.
here and here on the green page. And then on the red page, I put score tape towards the center. So the red page was here and the green page was here.
Okay.
Basically, by the time the two of them come together, you have a line of score tape all the way around.
Okay. So you're just making sure that they adhere really well, that's
Exactly. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
And then so you only have done the two pieces of paper, not
Just
three.
Just the two pieces so far.
Okay.
All right. Now to
But
make sure that,
Shelley,
oh yeah.
sorry, what I understood from you is by putting the glue on top of your double-sided tape allowed you the wiggle room to maneuver it in place.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because when the double-sided tape comes together, it sticks really well.
That's
And
right.
if you have to move it left or right like this, usually it doesn't. You end up having to tear it apart and then reposition it.
Mhm.
Whereas if you throw a little glue on it, it provides a little layer of lubrication so that you've got a little wiggle room. Not a lot,
Okay.
but a little. Yeah.
Got it. Good
So
idea.
Yeah.
can we just use glue?
You can use whatever you'd like. I'm just showing two methods so that people kind of, depending on what you like. Some people like double-sided tape. Some people like glue. The next one that we do, I'll just be using glue.
I
All
like
right.
And I only had
I'm-
double-sided tape, so there you go.
Exactly. I'm a big
Heather.
fan of glue everywhere. So Now,
I'm doing this exact same as you, Heather, right now. I've used
No,
no
I'm just saying
scoreboard. I'm using only double-sided tape just so I can say, here you go.
I'm doing well. I got them. Let's see, it worked. It worked.
all right. So now if we kind of pop the center of that red one so that it's back to facing down and the top one's facing up, the tips are facing up, we're going to test fold it to make sure that it still folds nicely into our little square. Because now's the time to correct it before everything kind of really glues itself together. And if it does, great, we're ready on to the next side. Everybody good?
Everybody's good.
All right. So the next one, you're going to take, again, one of the squares on the what will be the far right base page. The square that doesn't have the folds. So these two here have the folds there. You want one of the ones that doesn't have the fold. And then the other one on the center that doesn't have the folds. So it's going to kind of look like this. And we're going to do the exact same thing. This time, because I'm a big fan of glue, I'm just using glue for the whole thing. And I just have to remember to leave a little bit of space so that there's space there by those two folds to make sure that the paper doesn't go over. All right. So you can see here, I've still left a little bit of space here for the fold here and the fold here. And there's just a little bit of glue because you don't want it blowing over. And that's probably the worst thing about glue is it tends to go everywhere. If you've been a little generous with it, it tends to really flood. I'm turning this upside down so that I've got the one I'm gluing onto on the bottom. I just find it's a little easier to control the top one coming down into it. And again, I'm going to get my corner there and then my sides and just make sure that I'm leaving a little bit of space there for that hole. And I can still wiggle it a little bit with the liquid glue. And I'm just going to press it down. And the only other thing with liquid glue is you kind of have to give it a minute to adhere to each other. Whereas if you have tape, as soon as you stick the two pieces together, they're taped and they're glued and they're not going anywhere. Whereas sometimes liquid glue will take a minute to kind of do its adhesion. All right. How's everybody doing? Any questions? Have I totally confused you yet?
No.
Just plain.
Excellent. All right. So when you're done, you can see that the bottom piece points down and the two side pieces point up and they're all glued together. So we're going to, again, test our fold. So squeeze into the two centers and the side pieces, fold that all up. Make sure it still folds up into a really nice, Julie's on it, a really nice little square. Good stuff. And then take it out and button again. All right, how you doing, Heather?
I'm getting there.
Oh, good stuff.
Trying to get my double-sided tape untaped.
So
Pressing it yet?
So this is where you're going to take your pattern paper and you're going to lay it out. So I've kind of put this a little bit cockeyed here. Let's see if I can go up a little bit more here. Let's see here. Oh, that shows a little bit more. All right, so you've got your paper here and you just want to kind of start to lay it out and go, okay, what format do I want this in? Where do I want the colors? And this is 100% personal preference, whatever you would like to do. I did a crop this weekend and they said, don't worry about perfection with this first one because it's sort of your practice one. This is the one where you make all your mistakes on it. And then when you go to make it again, that's the one there that you can personalize and you can play with and decide what exactly you want to do and make changes and get it more perfect than the first one.
So you're doing it with the color in the center all showing.
Sorry, what's that?
The red one, you're doing it so the one in the center shows all.
Yes, yes. If I had to move everything, the red is going to show all.
Everybody's getting there. So you're putting them.
And we're left with 2 squares.
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't mess up.
Nope, that's always a good sign.
Tracy gave me double-sided paper, so now I don't know what I'm doing.
All right.
So are there 4 squares? These are all the same color, right, Tracy?
So all 12 are going on the inside?
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are going on the inside.
Stay with it.
Yeah, sorry, Heather. I'm trying to remember which ones you got.
They are these ones.
Because I didn't do them yesterday. Remember that.
I have 4
But
of
yeah,
these.
yeah. So again, I gave you some double-sided ones so you can kind of pick,
Okay.
say, oh, I want this one or that one or
Not surprised.
yeah.
Ellie, I'm a bit confused on one area.
Sure.
Your squares, like the green squares, are those laying into the score lines of that?
I just place them on, like they're loosey-goosey here. They're just placed on top just so I can see what the layout is and decide whether I like it or not.
I got it. I know what you're going to do then. Okay.
We'll attach them in a minute. But this is where you can kind of play around with, what do you want? What do you want it to look like? Which patterns do you want to emphasize? In this case, because I've got all 4 of them running down the center, I'm emphasizing that pattern, but you can mix them up. You can do it whatever you'd like. Just pick a format that you're going to work with for now. Is everybody to this point now?
Getting there.
Almost.
Oh, Michelle's not.
I'm not there yet.
Not there yet? Okay.
Trying to find all my squares.
This is probably the hardest part, is, as you know, what do you want to coordinate with what and where is it going to go? That's the part that takes me the longest, no matter whether I'm making a card or whatever. It's, what am I going to put together with other things?
Also doesn't help if you lose where your squares are.
True.
I'm missing the square.
Yeah,
So
picking your paper.
right now you're just putting the pattern paper down on the squares just for format. You're not gluing anything down necessarily. It's just, do you like the layout of it? And if you like the layout of it, then our next step will be gluing. So as soon as everybody's got the layout that they're happy with, you want to just sort of stick up a hand so that I can see 1, 2, 3. All right. I think everybody, Heather, how you coming?
I'm coming.
Okay. We'll just give you another.
What the heck did Tracy give me?
I'm like, how many squares do I have, Tracy?
I tried. I'm like, what colors might she like? I don't know.
No, I like the colors. I just can't remember because I didn't cut them. I don't know how many I have.
But you have enough.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, you should have 12, of which 10 are going to go right here now.
I have more than 12, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, so you even have spares.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me, see?
Spares are good.
I have more than 12.
That's okay, because see, I have spares too, Heather. It's all right. All right. All right, we're on to gluing now. So if you want to take the squares that are kind of in these 3 spots here and these 3 spots, leaving just the center ones. Just move those other ones out of the way for right now. We will come back to that. So now we just have the 4 that go across the center diagonal squares. And this is the easiest part. You're just going to glue them down. So when you put them down, again, remember you want to sort of eyeball an equal edge all the way around. When you do that, it will naturally leave space for the folds. So if we're up here, there, if you can kind of see where, if I have something like that, it's got about a 1/4 inch edge around, but it leaves naturally just the perfect amount of space for that score line and the fold. So once you've got that, hit it with some glue or some double-sided tape, whatever makes you happy, around the back. And glue that little guy down all the way across each of the 4 segments in the middle. Get just straight glue, just regular. So for Heather, that'll just be, just do like a square of double-sided tape.
I'm using 2, Heather, okay?
Blaming.
It's true.
And then you're just going to work your way from left to right, right to left, whatever order you want. And you're just going to glue down the next one. The one thing I had said, non-directional paper, because sometimes if you have directional paper, you have to be careful of how it lies. So say, take for instance, this paper here has little deers on it, and the deers, their feet all face towards me and the heads all face away. So if I mistakenly use those across the center, I could use these here and just make sure that they're all like this, going the same direction. Because if you have one going like this direction, and then say, take for instance, you do the next one this direction, the heads and feet are now all going different directions. The pattern doesn't match.
So what
And
you're saying is you didn't follow your own directions.
Exactly. So just be aware of that if you have non-directional paper, it just makes things a little bit more challenging.
So I have
And
non-directional paper, so I want them all going in the same way.
you want them sort of so they match. Now, some people do an
Have
awesome job.
non-directional paper there, dear. You
Non-directional
do. You
paper.
Now, sometimes you can actually
want
use
flower stuff or
Birds in one
oh,
direction.
whatever. Yes, I don't know.
As I can
Now-
tell, these are birds that are going in one direction, Tracy.
But birds can do flips. They can fly all over. They're
They're
acrobats.
sitting on a branch, so they can sit upside down.
so they will just be going sideways, either this way or that way.
Yeah, I
Just
just
make
have to
sure
put
that
them both in the same direction.
Exactly. Now, I have seen people go and use non-directional paper for this, directional paper, but then they factor in how they're going to sit. So if if you're happy with them sitting like this and you want your picture to go sort of this way, and you want it facing normal side to you, not sideways, then you're going to have to be careful when you cut it so that it's going the right direction. But then you end up with waste paper, and I didn't want to do that to you.
Good.
So glue all 4 of those little guys down, and I'll just finish up my little guys here.
Shelley?
Yep.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
I have a question. If
Sure.
you want this to turn out right, are all those 4 squares that you're gluing down, are they supposed to be the same pattern?
They can be
What if
whatever
one
you'd
end,
like.
one end could be different than the other?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So it's not going to screw things up. Okay.
No, if you wanted to do them like that and have let's see here, where everyone is a different one, that's
Yeah.
okay too.
Okay.
Yep. It's whatever you want. I made them the center ones all the same right now so as to not confuse you.
Oh, okay.
Once we made this first one, you can make it however you like. And in a way, this is really good if you have spare pattern paper. This burns through a lot of paper by the time it's all said and done. So it's perfect for
Hello. So my
Your
other
scraps.
question was, I had to go buy scraps from the store because I'm traveling, so I don't have anything in my stash here in
Okay.
work.
Yeah.
So are we? Well, I guess I'll wait till you get to that, and then I'll ask the question. But
So-
yeah, this is not easy with construction paper.
Oh goodness, no.
Yes, it is better with cardstock. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely the
Just give it a
base.
class and then.
Definitely you'd want your base to be cardstock, something with a little bit of substance to it. The pattern paper can be as flimsy as you want it, but yeah, the cardstock, you want something with a little bit of weight to it. Now I made mine with 12 by 12 paper because then it made 12 squares and you left no waste. You could make these out of 6 by 6 paper. You just have some leftover paper. But if you have that, when you go to make the front, I've seen ladies make like a lattice of all the little 1 or 2 inch strips, and you can make like a patchwork quilt type thing for the front and the back, or you can use it just as a card base for something else, and just butt it up so that you've got one piece, next piece, next piece, next piece, and make a funky pattern out of it. All right, how's everybody coming along? Got the 4 pieces down?
I do not, but don't hold up for me.
Oh,
It's taking
okay.
me a long time to get this tape off, so
Oh, yeah.
don't
You
wait.
do get used to it after a while, Heather. Trust me, okay?
I didn't say I wouldn't. I'm saying, but don't wait for me.
But
You
I'm
get
just saying it takes
you
a
get in the
while,
flow.
I know.
Yep. All right. So I think everybody else is kind of caught up. So next, we're going to do the next 2 pages, which are the next 2 squares that are a little bit more complicated. So if we start off on the far left-hand side, if we glue our pattern down to this, there, I'll make that a little bit easier to see. If we glue our pattern down to this, we've got a problem because when this goes to fold, we now have the solid paper sitting right on the fold. So the solution to that is you're only going to glue half of it down. So take for instance, your fold goes this way, right? So if you glue your pattern down to one side and leave the other side open, this will still fold up nicely. So that's what you're going to do right now. In order to do that, if you're using double-sided tape, you're going to put a strip of double-sided tape down this long side. If you're just using glue, you'll just do your usual thing with glue, remembering to keep your edges. So you wouldn't want to put glue right on the edge, like right on the edge here. You'd want it back a little bit because you want to keep that little bit of a frame edge there. So I find it a little easier if you glue the base and then put the paper on top of the base, because then you know where your triangle is. But it's up to everybody how they want to do it. I'm just going to put my glue down here and make sure that I've left some space for my edges. So if you can take a look here, you can see I've left space for my fold, my score line right there, and it's not quite to the edge. I could get a little closer down that center line of the triangle, but that's not too bad. So when I take my piece of paper, I'm going to put it down, remembering to keep space around the edge and around the score line. And you can kind of line up your diagonal corner and your diagonal corner with the corner of the center here and with the corner of the edge. And when you do that and press it down, it's nicely framed all around the outside, but it's only glued on half. Did that make sense to everybody? So you're just gluing it down on one half, one side. The other, you're just letting it just go loosey-goosey. It's just free. It's not attached to anything.
So you just triangle the double-sided tape.
Yeah, so you just do a triangle with the double-sided tape. Bye, Brenda.
Huh.
All right.
See you later, Brenda.
Bye, Brenda.
And then, so how's everybody doing? Any questions?
No.
Any more questions? Okay, good stuff. Heather, are we leaving you in the dust?
No, I'm following you. I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, but I keep going.
Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to the one on top, but the big secret is whatever side you glued on the bottom, you're going to glue on the opposite side on the top. Because what happens is if they're on opposite sides, when you fold this all together, they just kind of like ships in the night. They pass by each other. Whereas if they're both on the same side, they collide, and we don't want collisions. So in this case, because we glued this side here, we're now going to glue, we glued on the left side on the bottom one, so we're going to glue on the right side on the top one. And just make your little triangle worth of glue again, or double-sided tape. And put your piece of paper on again, the pattern paper, lining up the corner and the corner, leaving a nice little edge around the outside, an even edge, and that will just naturally leave space for the score lines. And just press that down so it firmly attaches. And then you can test it out by doing your fold. And when you do your fold, you might have to kind of guide the first one so that, see how they kind of nestle within each other as they come through. And they'll just fold within each other, and that folds up into a nice little square there. And there's our one side, or one square, completely done. How's everybody doing?
Good.
All right. Now we're going to go to the far right side and do the same to these half triangles. Now, you will kind of want to mirror things. So if you glued the outside of the bottom, you'll want to glue the outside of the one on the other side so that it's matchy-matchy. And just grab some different pattern paper or the same, whatever you want. Remembering to keep the glue or the tape slightly away so that you have that nice border without glue in it. And match that little guy in there, matching the corners to the center and to the far outside. Press that down. And again, you're just doing the triangle, not the whole thing. You'll leave one side free. And you'll do the same to the top one. So if you glued on the right-hand side of the top one, you're going to glue on the left-hand side of the other side, basically opposite. So you can see here, the insides are open here. So on the top one, the outsides will be open, and I will glue here. And if you look top to bottom, these are glued opposite corners as well. So that's just your double check to make sure that you're getting the right sides.
Grounding in little pieces of double-sided tape.
Yes.
I'll sell glue if you want, Heather.
Don't think I could make it on time, Tracy.
I'll slow down. I'll wait.
It'll be about a half hour by the time.
Oh, dear.
She's close, but not that close.
Okay. All righty.
Over the fence.
What's that?
So throw the glue over the fence.
That's right.
Well, we do back onto the same green space, but it's like 5 kilometers
Oh,
or
okay.
3 kilometers.
Won't work.
So let's do our test fold to make sure that those guys still fold up. And hopefully they still do. They make the nice little square. And then just sort of give it a good push down to make sure it folds and holds. Doesn't hold very well, but that's why we have more steps. And it opens up like that. All right, now I'm just going to slow down here and wait for people to catch up so that we do the next step, because the next step's a little bit challenging. So I don't want to lose anybody on that. And I'll show you the first one, and then you can do the next ones, just so that you can see how it goes. So when everybody's got to this stage where everything except for these 2 squares are all glued, maybe just stick up your hands so that I can see that everybody's good. All right, Julie's good. All right, Janice is good. All right, good stuff. We got about half of us. Oops, I got to look to the other page. Oh, yep, Mary's good. All right. All right. So the next page is the challenging one, because when it folds up, because it folds sort of in, you can't do the same thing you did to the sides because it has nowhere to go. And if you have your piece of paper here and you fold it, it's obviously going to have a fold running right down the center, which is going to mess up the fold, and then you're going to have an ugly score down the center. So how do we deal with that? What you do is grab your trimmer.
Scissors, Heather. Sorry.
All your fault.
I was going to say, yep, there's a couple of different ways. If you're going old school, you're going to fold diagonally from corner to corner and then just trim along the fold. You're going to do a little more trimming after that, but that'll get you started. If you have a guillotine style trimmer like this, then what you can do is put your edge down and match up your corners. And
Actually,
so I'll just sort of try and get in here to show you. So you can see how that corner is right along the edge. And then, oops, my hand's in the road. And then that corner is right along the edge. Sorry, it's a little blurry, guys. But you want to line up your corners from there to there. if you don't have a guillotine style and you've got one of this style,
I do have one of these.
perfect. So then what you're going to do is wherever the cutting line is you're going to line up your two corners, top and bottom, with whatever your cutting line is. And if you were to just zip up and down right now, chances are that teeny tiny little corner is going to get scrunched because the blade runs into the corner and it just doesn't know what to do with it, and it basically scrunches everything out. So what I recommend is move your blade to the center and then cut out, and move the blade to the center and cut out. And when you do that, you've got perfect little corners and they don't scrunch all up into a nasty little ball.
It's actually really good advice because I know exactly the scrunch that you're talking about.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Everybody's been there. So then that's step one. But if we were to take, back here. If we were to take this and put that down right now, you're still, your cut literally goes right on the score line still. You still don't have enough space for it to fold up because you'd have now 4 layers of stuff folding on the same score line. So you need to take literally a hair off of this long side. So you're going to line that back up again. And literally you're taking like 1/16, 1/32. Like you can see, there's not a lot that's come off there. But when you do it on both sides, it gives you just enough room that that score line will have a little bit of wiggle room, and you'll still have nice borders. Just a teeny tiny little bit there. And you're going to do that with both halves, your top and your bottom. So I'll let you cut that up, and then we'll move on to the next step. As I say, it's just a teeny tiny, because you don't actually want, the same sort of width that you have around the outside of the square. You just want just a little bit there so that the packet can fold. All right. How we do?
Good.
All right. No questions, no confusion. Too much confusion and you're just totally lost. No.
Which is pretty good.
Excellent.
Doing great, Shelley.
Thank you. All right. So the next thing you're going to do, if you're like me and didn't follow my own instructions, you're going to line these two up to make sure that they're going the same directions. If you have non-directional paper, that's not a concern. You want the 2 longest sides to the center. And when you have that, you'll be able to see that you can line this up so that you've got your nice little bit of a frame around the outside. And it's just on the other side of the score. So if I move this up here, whoops. There we go. You can see it's just on the other side of the score. There's not a whole lot of room there, but it's just enough to allow it to hold up. And glue those little puppies down. Now I was a little generous with my cutting and leaving the edge. So you can see I ended up having about the same frame as on the outside, on the inside, but you can get it closer because this is plenty of room. See how it folds up without any issues? You can get it, so that it's like here to here sort of type thing, you can get it closer if you wanted to. How's everybody doing? Quiet, everybody's working hard. Now you're going to do the exact same thing to the top two. And again, if you were silly and didn't listen to my own instructions, you want to make sure that directionality matters. You've got them going the same way.
Good thing I have nails.
Yeah, nails really help. If you've got something sharp like a little a pin or a needle or something, that works too. You just sort of stab into the top layer and then flick it up.
If you slide it from the side, the pin from the side of the tape, it just takes it right off.
Exactly, yeah.
If I had a pin. Okay, Tracy did this to torture me, I know.
What your book that you had the other day, Heather, that you scraped off. Do you have that handy?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Downstairs. It's okay. I'm getting better at it. Whoops.
I've used a fork in the past, if that helps.
Oh, yes. Or a knife with a sharp point. That works as well, too.
Even a push pin. A push pin will help.
Yep, push pin.
Yes, I use that a lot. I can't find my pokey tool.
Yep.
Yep. All right, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Now, best case scenario, when you fold this little guy back up again, it should all fold back up nice and neatly. Oops. There we go. Back into that little square that we had before again.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And you'll notice it's getting thicker and thicker because we've got all that pattern paper and
Quite a few pieces of paper.
yes, exactly. So just give it a good squish down and let me know when everybody is caught up to me here. That looks like got a couple of us done. Kind of looks like a slinky toy when it's half folded and half not folded.
So we should try it down the stairs.
You could
just see would it work,
I would just do it this way to fling it, but probably be more effective. All right.
Makes me think of a horrible joke.
Oh, those are usually the best jokes. There we go. All right.
I need to tell you when you're done.
Okay, sounds good.
Slinky people.
Sorry, I thought this was a G-rated presentation.
It's a G-rated is not a kind.
Oh,
The joke.
okay, PG.
There you go.
All righty here. So hopefully it looks, you've got all 10 of your pieces on and it looks like this. Now, remember how I said optional was to have something black and white. So this would be one that you could use. For anybody who hasn't guessed so far, this is a little mini photo album. And you can put your pictures. You've got spaces for 8 pictures here. And if you're really keen, you could do the same to the back side, and then you'd have 16 pictures worth of space. But you could put them like, whoops, I didn't glue these together, but you could put them like this and have your picture in here. Now, the lady I was watching did show how to make little corners for your photos so that you can just slip them in. And basically, you would do a score just a teeny bit away from the edge and a score down the center, and then fold that like that, and then down the center, and then trim off this little flyaway piece, and then glue it, and you'd have your space for your photo to stick in here, and you put it in here. And I made 2 of these, and I went, I'm going to dollar store and buying the photo corners that you can get. Because
Yeah,
they
they are available there.
way
I
too
was
finicky.
thinking the same thing, or go to my stash and find my photo quarters.
Exactly, exactly. Yep. But in theory, it could be done. And then you just put little photo corners wherever you want. And what I had seen was the lady had put like just on the corners, and then it would slip in this side, slip in this one, and the other 2 would be free. And she said, because everything's all bundled up together, you don't really need to have all 4 in there, but it's completely up to you. As I say, this, when I folded them all together, I went, this is way too finicky. So I won't be doing that. But you do have enough space that you could have 4 photos here, 4 photos here, and you could stop at that, or you could flip it over and have 8 more photos there. Let's finish the outside, because that's the only thing that hasn't been done so far. So fold this little guy back up again. And, whoops. They didn't tell you you needed coordination when you were paper crafting. So from here, you kind of pick a side, whichever one you want, and you can do this differently. What I did was I just picked one, and I looked at it and went, well, how does it naturally want to pop up the highest? I'm going to do that side. And what you'll do is you'll take a little bit of your double-sided tape and you'll put it down, just a little bit of it down here. And let me actually get some for you here and show it to you. Let me find the edge. So I just got a little teeny weeny little strip and I just put it there. And then get a little bit of ribbon. And I happen to have purple here. So you're going to have the ribbon on top of the double-sided tape stuck down. And then you're going to want to give yourself, 4 or 5 inches, depending on how much it takes for you to tie a little bow. And you're going to trim it off. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if I peel that up and put our double-sided tape here, right on top of the ribbon, right on top of the double-sided tape, so that you can see it's all firmly attached there. And then I flipped it over to the other side. We need another little chunk of double-sided tape. And you want your ties to be even. So what I did was I just laid out where the top side was, where it's coming out there, and went, okay, line up my double-sided tape so that it matches in a line. Because then if you put your other ribbon this way, they'll come out about the same area so that they tie nicely. And then just grab a little pair of scissors and trim that off. And put the backside tape on, backside ribbon. And then I just pulled them out together so that they're about the same length. And depending on your style of ribbon, sometimes you have to put a little fray stop on the end so that it doesn't fray all into pieces. This is just, I don't know, plasticky ribbon. So I just cut it on the angle here like that, and it's not going to fray. And you can tie that little guy in a bow.
Shelley, have you ever used a lighter to keep your ribbon from fraying?
Yep, I have.
Okay.
I'm a little dangerous with fire though, so my husband's not thrilled when I have fire going on downstairs. So I tend to stay away from that type of thing. Now, the other side still kind of pops. You can see. You could put another bow on the other side if you want to have them, so that neither side is popping. It's completely up to you. You could leave it just with this. I've also seen it where instead of ribbon, they have used a little 1-inch strip of leather paper. And then instead of gluing on either side, they've just left a space for the leather paper to kind of arch over and tuck into the other side. So it's completely up to you how you want to close it. Once you've got it glued down on this page, this is where some of those other pages, because you've got 12 of these cut. So this is where you are going to take and put on the front. And you're going to put it right down over top of that tape. So not only does the little bit of double-sided tape that you have here trap that ribbon, but when you put this on, it's also trapped by your paper. And just glue it on. And just leave a little bit of an edge around the outside just to frame it.
Shelley?
Yep.
Real quick, can you open yours a bit? Because I think I might have glued my ribbon. I want to see which edges you glued your ribbons on.
So I glued on the front.
I glued on the front, but...
And then on the back, I glued right onto the back.
But when you open it, are your ribbons like pointing down? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're pointing.
See, yours are up. Mine are down.
But you know what? If I do that, they're now down.
If I turn it the other way around, it's facing up. Okay. Yeah. I got them in the right place.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, which is really cool. The only thing you don't want to do is take a single loop of ribbon and go from the one side where you're going to tie all the way around here to the other side. Because when you go to open it up, now you're hamstrung because you've only got about 1 inch here and this can't open up properly. So if you wanted to tie it by ribbon on both sides, so both sides stay closed, then you'd have to have 2 tie ribbons or latches or some Velcro, let's see here, magnetic loops, whatever you'd like. So if you were doing, go ahead.
I was just to say, where would you put the magnets?
So if you had something like this and it's done with a ribbon, you don't really need the magnets. If you're doing a paper loop, let me just grab a hunk of paper. So let's say that this is our paper loop. I would round off the corners so that it looks nice. And I would glue it here. And then on the other side, when it comes over to loop in.
Got it. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would hide the magnet underneath this piece of pattern paper.
Right.
And then your magnet on the end. That would probably be the easiest. A lot depends on how much you want to put in here. If you have really thick photos, then you're going to want to make sure that you leave enough space here for it to be thick. If you're doing a paper loop like this, what I do recommend is where we glued all the way around this piece of paper, you're going to want to remember to leave a little space that's not glued. And I would almost use a little bit of foam tape just on either side and right on that sort of tail end, just to make sure you've got that little bit of space for that loop to fold into. So the one that I made earlier for, to make sure that my instructions work properly. Oops.
Oh, that's
So
Wow.
there we go. I put a little spaceman and I used
lovely. That's Stampin'
space
Up!
paper.
Paper. That's lovely.
Thank you. And then let's just move all that stuff out of the way. And in this case, I literally used the same paper because the other side of the planets is the stars. And so I used the same paper for everything, the front and back. And then I just did my embellishments in the front. So you could do something like that.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
So I have my question.
Yes. Go
How
ahead.
come you half diagonally glued the one set, and then the other set you cut in diagonal and glued them? Can't you do that to all of them, or what's the purpose of that?
Well, these ones, this side is a fold up. So these guys fold in like this. These guys fold the other way. They fold
Okay.
this way. So that allows us when we have like the top paper, the pattern paper, if we leave one side free because it's pointing up, it gives it a space to go. But these ones, because they're
Okay.
pointing down, there's no space for it to go. So if you kept this
You
as
would
a
not have
solid,
space to go. Okay.
you got to have space to go. Exactly. Because if this, if you glued this side and you fold it together, it's going to want to keep going that way underneath through the paper, which isn't going to work. So that's why you
I
have
think
to.
I did mine wrong. My diagonals ended up on an end piece instead of in the middle. So
Oh
it
dear.
still folds,
Okay.
but it's really, it's really chunky and it's not very attractive. So, but like I said, this is just going to be a pattern for doing it
This is-
right when
That's
I
right.
finally get my actual material.
Exactly. And this is
They're
your
not good
practice.
to work
This
with.
is your practice. This is your practice one.
This is practice. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Now, can you put a picture on that piece that's just half? You don't put a picture there, right?
I wouldn't because
The one that you only glued down?
yeah, because your
can.
picture would have to be able to fit onto like half of it, which makes it a very small picture. So if
you
you
can get
do have,
pictures developed smaller.
yeah, if you have a picture that would
Okay.
fit on half,
Yeah.
then it would work. But if you have a picture like you want to put a picture this size on here, it would not work because it would get folded right down the center.
Actually, if you cut the picture the same way you're cutting the paper and put it on there, it actually does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do
that'd
that.
be
No, that's
cute.
it. You can.
Yeah,
Yep.
that will-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, two kids standing next to each other and you cut them in half and put one kid on each side. That kind of be cute.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd
that
have to be
will.
very,
Just have
very
to watch.
selective. Yeah, selective with which photo you put in
So you
there.
don't cut off their hands or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
And just watch
you.
if you're putting embellishments, you don't want to make that area thick.
Yeah.
You don't want to make anything too thick, but that area, like she's saying, Shelley's saying is it won't fold.
Yeah,
as,
exactly.
well
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Did
So
you put
then
the on the back
you
too,
can
Shelley?
you can use the same fold onto scrapbooking pages if you want like a chunk that folds out,
Yes.
starts as a
Yes.
square and then folds out into something bigger. But I'm a card maker at heart, so I made cards. So you start with this
Yes.
and open it up. Oops. Open it up.
Yes.
It's the same fold that we just used because there's your square, there's your triangles just off center. And so you've got that card that opens kind of like a fun fold.
Yeah. You can do that. You can do a burst pop-up. So, same,
Exactly.
fold it the same way.
Shelley, hold it up again. I didn't get a screenshot.
Oh.
Just a second.
Oh, sure. So you've got it. Oops, you've got it like
There.
that.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, I got
when
it.
opens
Okay.
up, there you go.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then you can get fancier.
Yes.
And so here's this one.
Ooh.
And the poinsettia is dimensional. Open it up and you've got a little bit of space to
Right.
write.
Mm.
But if you have a whole story to write off the back, you have more
Ah.
space. Whereas this card just ended. It didn't have the back fold on it, but this one has both a space to write here plus a space to write there.
Extra card in the
But
back.
Yep, but it's exactly the same fold as
yeah.
what we've used so far. And then if you wanted to bump it up even further, you've got this. So this one has a belly band. So you just move it off. I was going to say that's what the back looks like. You move the belly band off, and then
It'll pop up.
Oh,
and it's the
that's
same
awesome.
fold that we've already used. And with this one,
Wow.
have to make sure that you stay within the little square that's in the center, because everything's going to come in
Isn't that
fold.
beautiful? Oh my God.
Thank you. And then you move it to the back, and you've got your space to write.
Yes.
Wow.
Very nice.
Cool. So there you
I
go.
can make 60 of those.
Exactly. And the fun thing is you get to use once you've kind of mastered that fold, you can use it wherever, because you could have, a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, make this a little bit smaller, and have it, just have it pop out as sort of like
as a pop out.
Yeah, as a pop out, exactly. And yeah, there we go.
So like that, yes.
Yeah.
I have one downstairs with a bear.
There you go. Perfect. So let's see here. Let's move this up. Oh, and now I'm upside down here.
Well,
there we go. There we go. Oops. We had some technical difficulties for the folks who showed up a little bit later, and my one camera decided it was no longer going to work. So I had to improvise with my other camera. Thankfully, I had two of them, and move things around, but we got it. That's the important thing.
Well, very
Great.
So any final questions? As I said, I will do a sort of an instruction page so that you've got it. The instruction page will be for this guy, not necessarily for these guys.
Oh, darn.
Actually, that's not hard to make.
I attended a crop this weekend where we made these guys. I don't know if I'm allowed to give it out quite yet.
Okay.
But I will see what I can do. I will email them and ask them if I'm allowed to write out my own instructions and then give it to you guys, because they are really cool cards.
Yes.
Well,
I really like the one with the belly band. That's beautiful, Shelley.
Thank you.
Beautiful work on all of them. Actually.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful card.
So Shelley,
Thank you.
I do recognize the paper, mind you.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Snapping up paper.
Yep.
It is.
from an instructional point of view, Shelley,
Yes.
I am a total beginner. And look,
Okay.
Wow, good job.
Oh,
Very good.
good job.
Yay.
Good job.
got rhythm back and side. So very good instructions for someone who's never, I folded paper before, I can say that. But I have never folded paper in this way. So there you go. So
Perfect.
very good instruction.
Yes,
Thank you.
very good, Shelley.
Thank you.
And
actually, I think any of us that did Christmas, which I did, I've got the beginnings of a Christmas present already made.
I was thinking I didn't do Christmas, but this can still work as a Christmas present.
It doesn't have to be Christmas paper as long
There's
as
some Christmas paper in here.
so yeah.
You have to congratulate. I'm going to switch for a second. Tracy.
Yeah, I was going to say, take me off.
So Tracy for choosing my paper, because I had nothing to do with this. So Tracy did a really good job of choosing my paper.
Very nice.
Nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
But take credit yourself, Heather, because from what I understand, you had extras, which created confusion. So you put the patterns together.
I do have extras I didn't use.
There you go.
My color is well enough to know that I would like these.
There. Very nice.
Lovely.
Cool.
And considering I
Well
don't
done,
know what I'm doing.
everyone. Good
So let's
job.
see
Well
everybody.
done, Shelley. Good
What-
job.
Let's show everybody's. Michelle, did you finish yours or did you? We'll go. You're muted still, hon. But it's okay. Let's see what people created, what we're able to get.
Yes.
I tied mine up here. Let me see.
Let's let me spotlight you.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I did fall.
Oh, that's
That's
Ooh.
nice.
fall. Nice.
Nice.
I like your shiny
job.
paper.
Very nice.
Excellent.
On ribbon. So-
Good job.
Janice, you're next. I can
I did
do 2 spotlights at once. I didn't know I could do that.
Christmas.
Oh, I like
Oh, nice.
Oh,
it
that's
could be
lovely.
winter.
Oh,
Christmas,
that's
very
lovely.
nice.
Excellent. Mary, you're next if you've got it. Let me find you. Oops, I lost you, Mary. Hold on.
Pretty.
Oh,
Nice.
those are pretty.
Those are
It's
pretty. I
nice
like
and
the colors.
springy.
Oh,
Colors.
Nice, bright colors. Nice.
very
Nice.
nice.
Did Janice?
Thank you.
As you go through my screen here. Tracy's next.
The thing is, they're all they're all Christmas gifts if you want, right?
Yes. Oops.
Or I don't know if I can.
Mm,
Oh, nice.
Oh, I like those.
very nice. Very nice
Nice.
paper, Tracy.
Pretty paper.
Very lovely paper.
Julie.
Good. Kind of a florals.
Mm.
Oh, lovely.
Nice. Very nice.
Mm, lovely.
Very well done.
Shiny paper.
Did I get everybody?
I didn't make one.
We have Joe there.
I'm just looking.
I didn't make. My
With Ka-
is all down.
Kaya.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I say the blue and
Joe, yeah.
purple. Hold it over.
Yeah,
Hold it
very
still.
nicely done.
There we go.
With not having any
Oh, I like
lines.
that.
Very nice.
How fun.
Yes.
Because
Nice.
I made one before a long time ago and I gave it away. So it had pictures in it. And
Oh, I have pictures in it.
yeah, for one of the, it was someone's birthday. So I put all the pictures in there.
So that's what the squares are for.
yes.
She gave me extra paper that I don't even know if it was for anything.
So there were some extras that she just said, keep the extras.
Yep.
Square. I'm like, what am I doing with the big square? And I got a little.
Yeah, those were
For
just
the
little
next
extras.
project.
So once you put a picture in, okay, if you put a picture or whatever you're going to put in there, then you can use those just to sometimes, just for a
embellishment.
little, I can't think of my words. I'm sorry, ladies. Embellishment or something else just to pop it out, right?
Yes.
But
No,
it's
but
just going to get you more and more into it, Heather.
would you try
There's a
that?
really, this woman, her name is Enid Kessler, I think, and she does a lot of this album making with just paper. It's lovely, and she's on YouTube. Yeah,
There's lots of it. But we have a couple. It's fantastic. So thank you, Shelley.
yes, very nice,
You're
Shelley.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank
welcome.
you. I love this
Thank-
project.
Mm,
Thank you guys. You
Lovely.
guys did awesome.
yes, very awesome.
Especially since you
I
didn't
love
know
your
what you were
cards.
making.
Well, that's the fun part of not knowing.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
it's fun not to know.
Well,
Now we
maybe-
have something like Janice said at the beginning of a Christmas present.
Yeah,
Now we
we-
have the hard part though, which
It is.
is the pictures to go into it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good gift.
Yeah.
That's always the
Thank
fun
you.
of it, Heather, because then there's more double-sided tape involved. and just
I
so you
know,
know, I
Heather.
gave you
Got it at the end.
double-sided, not score tape, because then you would have been cursing me
Oh,
I
yeah.
got good
had
at
you
I
stuck
got
it on
good at it.
wrong.
We'll all pitch in and get Heather one of these for Christmas.
Yes. Cookie
Me, I
tool.
can't tell what
Look,
it is.
Mm.
the original goal, I swear, was for me to show up at her house and say, all right, I'm here. Let's do this thing together and bring the stuff. And anyway, sorry.
It all worked. Hey, at least I had one of these. There you go.
Yeah. Fresh, Manny, you use this. You don't use your fingernails.
I may even have something like that somewhere, but all good. Thank you so much, Shelley. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Thank
Lots
you,
of fun.
Shelley.
Very good, Shelley.
Yeah.
And it was
Thank
a
you.
nice surprise.
It was
Oh,
nice
good.
fun to do. Did you guys enjoy doing this where we did something
Yes, it
different
was
and made stuff
lovely. It was
together?
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Nice
like
to learn
I like
something
having
from
something.
a colleague.
Yeah. It's something we can consider sparkling in and doing stuff like this more often. Too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Just have to-
inspiring a do along. I liked that.
Yeah, we just have to tap into creative minds to do it.
If anybody has an idea here and says, hey, I would love to do this with everybody, all you need to do is give us the list of things to have ready.
Yeah, and that could be really interesting. Like some of my folders or stuff, and my sister gave me a lot of ideas. But making things like that, it's pretty easy. Where to, here's the template. You need to, cut these. I liked the mystery aspect of it. Okay, just cut things like this, and it's like,
Yeah.
the only part I figured out is I did know that these were going to go in here and then fit on here, obviously. But okay.
Well,
But the rest
I
of it, I
know.
was like, okay, what are we going to do?
But Tracy, when you sent me the instructions, I kind of thought, oh, I think I've made this. It's an album.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a very nice album. But that fold up part you can use in so many ways. I mean, you use it in cards.
Yeah.
You can use it as a pop up. I've used it as a pop up.
Yep.
Gorgeous. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
You're
Just to
welcome.
give us the idea and go for it.
Yes.
If you
Thank
need
you, Shelley. Thank you.
Shelley.
You're welcome. That
In
was
the
fun.
words of my 18-month-old granddaughter, yay!
Thank you. There's Jessica. Yeah, no, they're great. And it's neat that they're all different. They're the same, but they all look very different because of
Yes.
the papers
Right.
that she chose.
Yeah.
Even Tracy
Yep.
has different papers for each of us. So there you go.
Ah,
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We are back next week on Tracy on
my book's over there, dear. I don't know.
next week is gosh, it's halfway through the month next week. On Friday the 18th.
Okay.
Assuming my
Okay,
calendar
very
it has been wrong in the past, but I'm pretty sure it's right.
Yeah.
You will get reminders, and our summit actually will probably, fingers crossed, be open for registration by the 18th.
Okay.
When is the actual summit?
The actual summit is November 6th through 10th.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Registration,
I have that.
we open registration to our list first, and then we open registration to everyone. All the speakers will start on the 21st. We have, if all goes well, we have 33 speakers.
Ooh, awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
We're pretty sure it might,
Yeah.
you never know in the end when one might drop off for other reasons, but we're 33 and we have some sponsors who might contribute. So it may even be more than that.
Mm.
Good job.
Very nice.
Have a lot of work to do for between now and the next time we see Tracy and I have
My,
to double down.
my November is just full.
That's why it's now the all access pass for people who are full.
Well, that I always have to get it because a friend says, do you, between the time you come back and the time you go away again, do you have a free weekend? I said, well, no. My saving grace was that she works during the week, so she does happen to get Remembrance Day off as a holiday or as a day off of work. So we're going to get together that day. So I said, otherwise the weekends have got a crop booked pretty well every weekend. So
And I just got creative with my tie. I tied it around.
There you go.
nice.
There you
This
go.
is where it's glued. It's glued on this side, and then I just tied it around. So it doesn't.
So as long as your other ribbon was long enough, you could go around to keep it packaged.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
Tracy giving me long enough ribbon.
Yeah.
It does keep it from popping up.
Yeah,
I
it
just
does.
glue it on one side. Yeah.
Yeah, I just do it on one side and then went around.
Round,
And you
yes.
can kind of put the bow wherever you want. So there you go.
There you
Good
look at that for a
I gave you
beginner.
two choices of ribbon.
that for a
I gave
beginner,
you two
yeah.
colors to pick out
Thank
of.
you, but the blue didn't go. So the blue would have gone good too. So maybe I can change it. Go this way
I tell
around.
you, I just went, well, let her decide.
All good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shelley. We really
Thank you,
enjoyed it.
You're
Shelley.
welcome.
Good night, everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Right.
We'll see you
Bye.
next
Bye,
time.
everybody. Thank you
We will
very
send
much.
out the instructions once we
Thank
have them.
you.
So thanks. Find the off record.